Hey everyone, Krista here. Today I am going to be showing you the quick and easy method of fixing elastics. This would usually be done in the sleeves and in bloomers, the legs of bloomers and the waist of bloomers. Um, this is usually the method that you would use on these narrow elastics. So this is the quick and easy method. All that's required is the elastic cord. It has stretch, and all you're doing is weaving through the existing elastic. It's the easiest way to do it, especially for something that almost every dress, shirt, bloomers, all of them, usually the elastic is completely gone. There's no stretch left. Like, look at the size of this. So all we're going to do is you're literally taking the elastic on your needle and you're going to weave it in through. So you just start. Now, I will say that if you got something like this where you have the fabric flap, I would usually start here, work my way around, and come out through this side and tie the knot here and have it hidden between them. If it's like this, where it's all folded in, I try to hide as much elastic as I can, either on this side, like when I tie it, I just try to hide everything just to make it look neat. So all you're doing is come in through, and you can start wherever. I usually try to start on that little spot, just as easier to hold. Pull through to where your end of your elastic is here. Don't sew around and then pull, because all you're doing is stretching your elastic and you're not going to give it that uh, leeway to expand with the fabric, because you kind of need to ruffle the fabric onto elastic, not just pulling it through. You actually want to ruffle it. So I usually, just for ease, because I'm usually doing something else, so I don't really pay attention, I use the holes that's there. I don't know if you can see the holes from the existing stitches. I don't know if that's focusing in here. So I usually just go in those holes. So I'll go in through a hole. When you're going in, just go in through the elastic. So you don't want to pierce through the fabric on the other side. You just want to go through the elastic. So you just pull it through, and then you come up somewhere along the next hole, like approximately. Just make sure that you're on your back, that you're not going in through the fabric, right? So you just pull it through. Now, you won't really ruffle it much in your first couple of threads. All you're doing is just kind of putting your elastic through. Make sure your end piece don't fly up. Let go. And just make sure you're not going through the fabric, because you don't want it to show on the other side. And you just, it actually don't take long to do this, doing this method, which is good because, like I said, you're usually replacing a lot of them. So as I'm going now, once I got a few put through, I'll just pull them down. So you want to make sure that you're not going to pull your end. So if you want to have extra end, you can. So on your first bit, you're just going to ruffle it. So when you have it ruffled, you just want it like that, where it's ruffled, right? Just make sure that your elastic is not always tight because you want it to have that movement, right? You already see how it will. So you just want to make sure it's ruffled on your elastic and your elastic is not tight. And yeah, and you just work your way around. Do so many stitches. Once you get so many stitches put through, just ruffle it down. So all you're doing is just gently moving the material down the elastic, more so than pulling the elastic. And just continue. And it don't really matter, you know, you do you. It don't matter if you're going in the holes. I usually use the holes as approximate, so it's sort of even instead of just haphazard and big distances and then short distances between the loops, and I just ruffle it down. So now, right? So, and that's all you do. You just go around until you're done. And when you're doing the sleeves, it's going to be quicker because the sleeve is a smaller distance. When you're doing the leg, it's not too bad, it's smaller distance. When you're doing the waist of the bloomers, you know, it'll take you a little longer because it's a longer distance around, but this is one of the easier ones. And I'll usually sit down. Actually, I had to go dig out this dress because most of my elastics are already completed because I'll pull a bunch of them out and sit down and watch a TV show, and I'll fly through them because it's easy. Yeah, yeah. We're already almost at the halfway mark of that first sleeve. But yeah, and this elastic cord, I'll just buy it at the dollar store. So I don't, it's not expensive or anything. But yeah, this is nothing to it. This is definitely something that anybody can do. All you need is that elastic cord and a needle and not much else. I always use this cord with it, just because it's easier to weave in than trying to get any of the thicker elastics. You could also, you know, just take the stitches out of the existing elastic and actually sew new elastic on. Just remember that if you do that, you can't sew the elastic on there straight, like basically how it is there, because it won't. You got to cinch it. So when you're sewing it on, make sure that you're cinching the elastic. But this method is definitely quicker and easier, and you get to keep the original thread and everything in place, which I like doing. Like some, especially when it's like certain colors, like pretty much all the thread I have is the basic colors or skin colors for fixing um, their ankles and toes and fingers and stuff. So I rarely have like special colors like these to match what they already have. But I much prefer leaving it as it is and just do this method. And it don't look bad. Like once it's done, you can't even tell unless you're actually looking for it. And when you're dealing with something that looks like that, this looks much nicer once it's done. And it looks so much nicer on the doll when the elastics are tight, around on their bloomers especially, when they don't have baggy bloomers. But yeah, so almost done. Just a few more little stitches. This is probably the most requested elastic repair because these elastics, and I'm not sure, like, I'm not sure if that elastic, because the way it is I don't know if they just sewed it on straight like that, because it kind of looks like it sometimes, but this definitely looks better. So hopefully this helps some people because it'll make a huge difference on how the clothes fits on the dolls. So once I get to the end, I kind of just work it wherever. Just make sure that everything looks nice. And what a difference. Already, you can see how much of a difference it makes. It's probably half the size now. So once you get to the end, okay, once we get to the end here, because the end piece is over on that side, we're just going to go right through the material, and as long as you stay on the inside of where the thread is, it won't poke through. So we'll just come in through this side and we'll go down on the other side. We'll make sure we're not showing on the outside, and just pull it in. And once that's through, take that off. So now we have the two ends, and we'll just tie them on. So I'll usually take this and I'll make sure it stretches to its full capacity. And so I'll make sure it stretches so that the elastic is not stretched itself inside. And yeah, so now it can stretch to the full capacity that the fabric will do. That way it's, and I'll take your sweater off. So I'll usually take her then. I'll just put her arm in. So now it looks like that versus like that. Much nicer. Like, that's baggy. That's much nicer. All right. So we'll just make a little knot in that. And I'm not sure how long that took. Maybe 10 minutes, if that. So then we'll just knot this. Make sure the other piece don't go up. Like I said, depending on how the fabric is held together, I try to hide the knot as much as I can. So I'll show you now when I'm going to double knot it just to be sure. Okay, I'm going to hold this because if I pull it while it's not held, it will like shift a bit until you pull it tight enough that it won't shift. So now we'll snip off those ends and we'll hide them underneath the elastic. Snip off the ends and we'll just like poke it so that the elastic covers it. Okay, and there it is. Ruffled on. That's how it looks. And just like that. This is how it is compared to the other one. sun is changing now and I'm getting sunbeams. Yeah. So it's a lot better. Little 10-minute job and you get your sleeve done. All right. So I hope that helps. And if anyone got any questions, just let me know. Bye.